The council, successor agency to the redevelopment agency, the Public Finance Authority, Public Utility Authority, Housing Authority, Paris Joint Powers Authority, and the Paris Community Economic Development Corporation of the City of Paris. This Tuesday, May 11th, 2021, at 6:36 p.m. Madam Clerk, can we have roll call, please?
Sure. Councilmember Nava,
Present.
Councilmember Corona,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Rab,
Here.
Councilmember Rogers,
Here.
Mayor Vargas.
Here. Thank you. Now, for those of you who are still joining us on Zoom, if you'd like to make a public comment on the Zoom screen, please click on the participants button. At the bottom of your screen, a list of participants will appear on the right side of the screen. At the bottom of this list, please click on the gray raise hand button. This will signal to the host that you would like to provide public comment, and you'll be added to the list. If you are using Zoom on your smartphone, tap your screen, and your screen will pop up with the list of participants. Look for the raise hand button on the screen. And for those of you who are calling in, simply dial the *9 button on your keypad. That'll signal that you'd like to make a comment. And if you hit *9 again, it'll take off your request. Item 3 is going to be our invocation, which will be led by Pastor Bobby Barrow of the Calvary Chapel, Paris Valley. And then after that, we'll be doing our Pledge of Allegiance, which will be led by Councilwoman Nava. Pastor Bob, if you're with us, you've got the mic.
Yes, thank you very much, Mayor Vargas, and thank you all council members for the opportunity to come and pray for your meeting. Heavenly Father, Lord, how gracious you are, Lord, and how powerful you are. Lord, as these that are here to represent our community and the people of Paris, Lord, I pray for your spirit to be upon them. I pray for, Lord, a spirit of unity and a spirit, Lord, of wisdom, so that they might know how to decide on the things that are before them today. Also, Lord, give them the words to communicate clearly and the ears to hear and understand one another, so that, Lord, they would be of one mind and one heart. Lord, thank you for blessing this city and for using these wonderful city servants. And Lord, continue to have your hand upon them, keep them healthy, keep them whole, Lord. Bless them, their families, and bless them for their service, Lord, as you watch over this meeting. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you, Pastor Ibarra. Now, if you could please join me as we salute our nation's flag. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Pastor. Appreciate your words of wisdom. Item 5 is our report on closed session items. Mr. Dunn.
Thank you, Mayor. The council met in closed session on the 3 items noted on the agenda. The potential litigation and labor negotiations, the council was brought up to speed and gave direction to staff, but no reportable action was taken. On item C, the public employee appointment, the council voted unanimously to appoint Ms. Clara Miramontes as the permanent city manager. A contract will be brought back, and the terms will be disclosed at that time.
Care to share a few words?
Those were the longest 10 minutes. Thank you, City Attorney Dunn. And I'd like to thank the council for placing your trust in this appointment. And as I did in the very beginning, even in January, I will still commit myself to making sure I do my best, work to the best of my ability under your leadership and your support for the staff, the city, and for the betterment of the community. So I thank you. And like I said, I'm here for everyone, so I can't thank you enough. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody from the council like to make a comment? No one's on the queue. Councilwoman Alva?
Congratulations to our new city manager, Clara Miramontes. I know our city is in great hands. We look forward to your leadership, and I look forward to working with you for the betterment of our community. Thank you so much.
Councilwoman Corona?
Yes, I do want to congratulate you. You've been doing a fantastic job for the last 4 or 5 months. Our city's doing well. I know you've been with our city a long time, so you know exactly how it's ran, and you already have great ideas. I think it's also important to note that Mrs. Miramontes, our new city manager, is our first woman city manager we've ever had in the city of Paris. So big congratulations to that.
Councilwoman Rogers?
Congratulations, Clara. I have the utmost faith and confidence in your abilities. You've proven yourself over the last several months. You've been a shining inspiration to all of us here in the city of Paris since we stole you from the city of Riverside a few years ago. So I look forward to much success and great things to come in the future. Congratulations.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Yes, I'd like to congratulate Ms. Miramontes on her appointment. I've had the opportunity and pleasure of working with you over the past 6 years in various capacities and with the city, and look forward to working with you more. And once again, congratulations.
All right, so being I'm last, so ditto 4 times. And welcome aboard. I know you'll do a good job. It's been a pleasure working with you these last few months as our interim. So now I don't have to worry about using the word interim in front of city manager. So thank you very much and welcome aboard. Okay, item 6 is presentation announcements. 6A is Shield for Kids backpack presentation. And this will be introduced by myself. So we're going to start off by announcing Dan Perez, come on up. Dan Perez is the founder and CEO of the Shield for Kids, which is a nonprofit organization. Dan is a retired Los Angeles police detective. As a detective, Dan spent several years working the department's abused child unit. The unit consists of detectives who investigate cases of children who have been physically or sexually abused or murdered by their parents or legal guardians. Shield for Kids hopes to be a small part of restoring that hope in order to rebuild a child's will when their lives feel bleak. Shield for Kids is there to provide empowerment and joy in one compact, customized, child-appropriate backpack filled with kid-friendly toiletries and clothing needed as they transition homes, as well as some fun things like toys, games, books, etc. This package serves as their shield for children to feel ownership of something that is completely theirs and that they can take joy in, as is for them to keep despite any circumstances that they may need to face in the future, as justice for the trauma that they have faced is fought for. With that, I will introduce Mr. Dan Perez.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, council members, for allowing me to present our nonprofit and also to acknowledge a couple of individuals that actually want to make the presentation to the city of Paris. So what I'd like to do is like to give you a story, start with a story, and why I started the nonprofit. So imagine you're 5 years old and you lose your mother to breast cancer, leaving your father to raise you and your 5 siblings. As years go by, you notice that your father is starting to drink, and sometimes you pass his room and you could even hear him crying. One evening, your sister is supposed to take you to Bible studies. Instead, she takes you to the movies. When your father comes home, he's upset, and he disciplines you with his belt. The neighbors hear crying and hollering going on in the home, and so they call the police. The police show up, and they do see visible belt marks. So they remove all the kids from the home, just shirts on their backs, and place them in protective custody. This goes on for 4 years while you're going to dependency court. And you and your siblings have been separated. The only time you see your siblings over that 4 years is in court. After the 4 years, the court is satisfied that your father has turned his life around, and they allow you to go back with your father and your siblings. Your father and your siblings now have a very strong bond and know the true meaning of a loving family. That was my, that was my wife story. My story is I'm a retired Los Angeles police detective. I used to work our abused child unit. I investigate cases when the parents or legal guardian either killed, sexually abused, or physically abused their children. Whenever I got a call from the coroner's office, a school, a hospital, or public, once I took the case, I would locate all the siblings. I'll locate all the siblings and take them into protective custody, take them back with me to the police station. When I was at the police station, I notified Department of Children and Family Services and asked them, where do they want me to place these kids? Sometimes I end up separating these kids. So I might take one kid to San Pedro, I might take another kid to North Hollywood, I might take another kid to Riverside. This is all day, all night. I could be in Riverside with the last kid 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. And then I'm telling this 9-year-old kid, you're gonna stay with these people in this house, complete strangers that he doesn't know. And the kid grabs onto me because I've been with him for hours and I'm the guy that's been feeding him from the vending machines. So I have to push his hand away and tell him, you go in that house, you're gonna stay with them. And that's my story, and that's the reason why both of us, me and my wife, want to start our program, Shield for Kids. We have 2 programs. The first program is we provide backpacks to the kids, and that's through the police departments. What we do is we provide backpacks to the police department so that if they take kids into protective custody, they can provide the kids with the backpacks. Inside the backpacks, there's shampoo, body soap, hairbrush. We got coloring books, toys, teddy bears, a blanket, sleepwear, underwear, socks. And the whole purpose of that is so that that's theirs, and that helps them through the transition when they're staying with this home with strangers. The second program we have is we provide excursions. Again, when the kids go to dependency court, could last up to 2 years. My wife was 4 years, and if they are separated, the only time they see each other is in court. So what we do is we work with Department of Children's Services to reunite the kids and have a day of fun like at Disneyland, Universal Studios. And those are the 2 programs we have. Now, if you don't mind, if I could ask the council, do you know what month breast cancer awareness is? It's October. And do you know what color breast cancer awareness is?
Pink.
Pink, correct. Do you know what month child abuse awareness is?
June?
In 1983, President Reagan signed a proclamation declaring that April is a month that we will observe child abuse awareness nationwide. Do you know what color child abuse awareness is? It's blue. The reason it's blue is 1989, there was a grandmother by the name of Bonnie Finney who lived out in Virginia, who was called to the crime scene to identify her grandson, her 3-year-old grandson, Michael, who was killed and stuffed in a toolbox by her daughter's husband. So then what Bonnie Finney did is she tied a blue ribbon around her car antenna, drove around town, and when people asked her, what does that blue ribbon represent? She says, it reminds me of the last time I saw my 3-year-old grandson, Michael. His body was all black and blue. Now I'd like to give you some statistics. Nationwide, every 10 seconds, there was a child abuse report made. Before today is over, on average, 5 kids will die of physical abuse or neglect. 1 out of every 4 girls, 1 out of every 4 boys will be sexually abused before the age of 18. LA County, in 2019, Department of Children and Family Services, they received over 154,000 calls. Orange County received, in 2018, over 41,000 calls. Your county, Riverside County, received in 2018 they received 60,933 calls in 2018. So the other day I was watching the news and I saw a commercial about a puppy, and for me to give money to the puppy, and then of course I'm screaming at the TV, what about all these kids? So out of curiosity, what I did is I Googled how many nonprofits are there in the United States for animals. It said 43,864 nonprofits for animals. Okay, so then I Googled how many nonprofits for abused kids. 1,509. So as I indicated earlier, we have some investors here, and I call them investors because I don't believe they're to really call them donations or people that are helping to provide. I see them as investors. These individuals are investing in your community or investing in our communities because they want to be able to ride a backpack. They want to be able to hopefully, through the backpack, maybe show this child that the community stands with them and it supports them. Also, too, we create partnerships, or we like to create partnerships with the police departments. So that what we do, if we provide 10 backpacks, we follow up maybe a quarter later to see if they need any backpacks to be replaced, so that way they always have backpacks on hand if they need to provide them to a victim of child abuse. Such as Los Angeles Police Department Harbor Station, we provided them with backpacks a few months back, and within the first 3 weeks, they had called us and said they already used 3 backpacks. They used 3 backpacks because they took a mother in custody for narcotics-related charges. Later, they found out that she had 3 boys, 4, 6, and 8. So they got the 3 boys. They had no socks, no shoes. They had been living out of the car for over a year. So the back seat is where they played, ate, and slept. So the detective said when he gave them the backpacks, first they didn't understand what the backpacks were for. Then when he explained to them they were theirs, and they were a little shocked. And then when they opened up the backpacks, he said that nothing but happiness. Sorry, a little nervous. So that is it. And then in closing, what I like to do is I like to quote something that Nelson Mandela said. He said, "History will judge us by the difference we make in the everyday lives of our children." And with that ends my presentation. If you have any questions, and then also too, I would like to be able to, for the City Council to notice the individuals that provided us with the backpacks to give to your station.
Can you
Are any
acknowledge those people, please?
Yes.
Your investors?
I have, yes, my investors, or our investors, is Garen and Kelly Heslock. They're from Medcare Farms.
Come on up, guys, ladies, folks.
And then I also have Oscar Lopez with GI Security. I guess they can't take pictures with you guys.
No, so what we're gonna do, so I explained this, once we're done with this right now, is we have one more presentation, then we're all gonna step down and we'll take pictures with each group, okay?
Great.
So, that's great, so the chief's gonna have to carry all these backpacks by himself tonight, that's awesome. So can you, young lady to my left, I'm over here, ma'am. Can you step up and identify yourself, please? We'll do that one at a time.
I'm Kelly Heslop. I'm one of
Okay,
the,
take your mask off, please, so we can hear it good.
I'm Kelly Heslop. I'm actually in your city for Medcare Farms too. We have cultivation over in Malbert area. So.
Awesome, thank you. Sir?
I'm Garen Heslop. I'm the CEO of Medcare Farms.
Thank you.
My name is Colleen Lawfer, and I work for them at Medcare Farms.
Very good. And I was just texting my officer in the back there to find out what agency's back there. I didn't realize you were part of this team.
My name is Oscar Lopez, and I'm security for GI.
So for those folks, Dan also owns the GI Security company, and that's, I guess, one of his officers.
Yeah, GI Security is what helps me fund our nonprofit.
Excellent. Okay, so listen, thank you all for what you're doing for our community and mostly for our youths. And then if you can have a quick seat, we'll get through this next presentation, then we'll step down and take group pictures.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Perez. Council, anybody want to make comments right now for the GI, this program, the Kids Shield for Kids? I'll start it off. Thank you, Dan, very much for doing this for our city. And again, also for the investors coming out there and providing all these kits. I, as a retired police officer myself, it goes back a few years, and I worked in the same city with Dan. These would come very handy, and I understand what you guys are doing, and that's very awesome, and we thank you for that. Councilwoman Rogers, you're on the queue.
I wasn't, but I gladly would speak.
Thank you.
I'm a grandmother of 11, a great-grandmother of 5. I know how very important it is to pour into our young children's lives, particularly the ones that have no resources, no loving homes, and are definitely being abused and mistreated. So the fact that you've come up with this wonderful idea to give them something to hold on to is very important. And I commend you for your work and your dedication in this area. Thank you.
Thank you. Would you like to?
Councilwoman Nava?
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Perez, I commend you and your wife for forming this nonprofit. With my experience working in social work, I know that families are in need, especially our youth. So I truly thank you and appreciate you for all the work that you do. Thank you so much.
Okay, great. You can have a seat, Dan.
Thank you.
All right, next up is 6B, is a presentation certificate of recognition to Ms. Desiree Taylor, Master of Education. She is the Director of Temple Christian School, and this certificate is for receiving the 2021 First Five Champion for Riverside First Champion for Children Award. Ms. Taylor, are you here? Okay, so for starters, for the First Five Riverside, for those who are not aware of this agency, the First Five Riverside commitment is to serving our youngest children stems from the research in brain development showing that the experiences of children in their earliest years significantly affect the way they grow and develop. Positive results in their early years dramatically impact their physical, mental, emotional, and social development. This in turn reduces their social and financial costs of services and that the children might need in their later years. So this can go on, and I think we all know the importance of the first 5 years of anybody. That's where their growth is at. So this year for the 2021, the First Five Riverside has nominated Ms. Taylor, which is the director of the Temple Christian Preschool here in Paris, let me make sure I get the title right, the winner of the 2021 First Five Riverside Champion for Children Award. She has positively impacted the lives of children ages 0 to 5 and their families through her efforts to provide access to childcare regardless of economic situations, to ensure children learn in safe environments, that they are provided healthy food and quality interactions and education. In addition to her work as a director, Ms. Taylor volunteers an additional 6 hours a week, which approximately equates to 350 hours to this date, to support Temple Christian Preschool by shopping for food to prepare meals for children, landscape duties at the preschool, and soliciting donations of clothing, toys, and electronics for children and families. At least 100 families have benefited from Ms. Taylor's efforts to provide services which have resulted in an increased enrollment through the word of mouth. Ms. Taylor has been recognized by the City of Paris for her work on the Grow Paris Garden Project and received a Nutrition and Physical Activity Self-Assessment for Childcare Award for promoting healthy eating and active play for children. Ms. Taylor became a garden champion to build the 18th satellite garden for the City of Paris at Temple Christian Preschool. She collaborated with parents, high school students, city staff, and businesses to complete the children's heritage garden. Families donated their construction services and labor to build the garden, and children who attended the preschool are learning hands-on about healthy food and where foods come from. The children have raised beds and rotating tower for fruits and vegetables such as peach trees, apple trees, butterfly bushes, lettuce, kale, and cilantro. The garden is ADA compliant and features the first learning area for outdoor education in the city. Other examples of key contributions and efforts to the first 5 Riverside Quality Early Learning Goals include the development of partnership with local charter schools and providing free healthy lunches to the schools and for their children. Also organized events pre-COVID-19, including Snow Day, Day of the Young Child, and Christmas children's programs for parents. Ms. Taylor is also a member, and the list goes on, of course. But Ms. Taylor is also a member of the National Association of the Education of Young Children and the Consortium for Early Learning. She is married and has 3 children, ages 6, 8, and 14. She earned her Master's of Education with a concentration in leadership and early childhood from Brandon University. Please put your hands together to thank Ms. Taylor for the wonderful work she does for our youngsters in Paris. Ms. Taylor, a couple of words from you, please.
Thank you. I just want to say thank you for this recognition. Young children, it's my passion. And, you know, as we know, the most 90% of brain development happens in the first 5 years of a child's life. And so those are the most important, those are the golden years. That's where they, you know, their prefrontal cortex is still developing and they're getting all of that language and they're learning how to interact socially and emotionally. And it's just a really, really important time in a child's life. So however I can be an impact and make a difference for young children, I just, you know, I really want to get my hands in there and just help children while they're young. And I just want to thank you for this recognition.
Awesome. I've got 6 grandkids I'm sending your way tomorrow morning. Okay, I think Councilman Corona has a couple of comments he'd like to say.
I do actually. Well, first of all, I just want to tell you congratulations, Ms. Taylor, for your award. It's very, very well deserving, and for all the work that you do, and all the other teachers at Temple over there with all those young people. You know, I teach high school, and you know, I'm not sure if I have the patience to deal with those kids, but the teachers over there are just fantastic. You know, especially for this past year, was just a blessing to so many families, especially my own. Well, I'm not saying especially, but including my own. You know, to be able to send the children over there for this year, get them a quality education in a very, very safe environment. You took all the precautions. It was just very awesome. And for the work you do, also for the working and middle-class families in Paris that otherwise don't qualify for other places, was very, very valuable for our entire community. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Councilman Rogers, you're on the queue. Was that from the last one? It is. Okay. Anybody else? Okay, well, thanks again. As a former school board member, Ms. Taylor, I definitely know this is a very big award, and I appreciate everything you do for our children. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to step down and take some pictures.
I think that's probably the best. Spread out a little bit there.
Where's Dan? Dan, come on in the middle with me.
Oh, you know, I'm sure it might be.
We're gonna face that way.
Look at me. Come over this way.
We got too many on that side.
Yeah, too many on this side. Come over, spread us out a little bit.
We're waiting for Dan.
Everybody's got a mouth.
Just give everybody give like an arm's length to the next person. We got enough room.
They can also stagger.
Yep, you can stagger up and back a little bit.
You guys want to take?
Yeah, let's spread out just a little bit for taking a picture. Give about an arm's length to the person next to you. I can get you all in here. All right.
Yeah, I think I'm in the window. Hold on 1 second. Let me
Yeah.
just right.
Let's
You're gonna step one step back.
go back right there. You go.
We follow directions better.
All right, so, hold on, everybody. Cameras, hold on. Everybody look straight.
Here we go. All right, on three. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay.
Now to your left. We're looking at you now, Fung. Good. Everybody look to your right because there's nobody there. Very good. Thank you very much.
Thank you very
Appreciate
much.
that. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Miss Taylor, you're up. Oh, certificate. It's right there. We already gave her a real one side of a front.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, I think, ma'am, I think you can about 2 feet there. Am I here? Yeah, you're perfect right there. Okay. All right. Here we go on 3. 1, 2, and 3. All right. Awesome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Can you get her information and send her that
Yep,
picture?
I will.
Okay, awesome.
Ms. Taylor, thank you once again.
Thank you.
Get face shields, no tar.
Okay, item 7 is our Youth Advisory Committee communications, and this will be given by Naomi Acosta, our president.
Honorable Mayor, members of the City Council and City staff, the Youth Advisory Committee continues to celebrate the high school graduating class of 2021 by collaborating with the Community Services Department. The parade is scheduled for June 12th at 6 p.m. It begins at the Southern California Railway Museum. The route continues through downtown D Street, ending at the Paris Civic Center. High school graduates are encouraged to register now on Civic Rec. Participation is free. The YC meetings are held every first and third Tuesday of the month at 5 p.m. via Zoom. The link can be obtained by contacting the Community Services Department. Also, YC applications are still available on the city website and are due by July 31st at 5 p.m. Lastly, on behalf of the Youth Advisory Committee, we would like to wish all of the moms and parents a happy Mother's Day, especially to our own mothers. The dedication you give to your families is truly remarkable. We would also like to acknowledge that May is Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month, and that it is also Mental Health Awareness Month. You can visit the YC social media pages for more information and resources regarding AAPI and mental health. The YC hopes that everyone continues to stay safe and healthy through these times. This concludes our updates. Thank you.
Thank you. Item 8 is approval of minutes. 8A is consideration to approve the minutes of the special joint work session held on April 22nd, 21, the special meeting held on April 23rd, 2021, and the regular meeting held on April 27th, 2021 of the City Council, successor agency to the redevelopment agencies, and all those listed on our agenda. There are no questions. I'll entertain a motion to approve. Have a motion by Councilwoman Rogers, second by Mayor Pro Tem Rab. Please call a vote. Roll call vote.
Councilmember Nava?
Yes.
Councilmember Corona?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Rab?
Yes.
Councilmember Rogers?
Yes.
Mayor Vargas?
Yes.
5-0, motion approved.
Thank you. Item 9 is our consent calendar. Consent calendar are items normally enacted in one motion. The mayor or city council may remove a consent calendar item for a separate action. Public comment will be allowed and limited to 3 minutes. Anybody wish to pull anything for a separate vote?
Yes,
I'd like to pull item A.
same item.
Okay. Anything else? Okay, hearing or seeing none, we will entertain a motion to approve everything but A. Have a motion by Councilwoman Rogers, second by Mayor Pro Tem Rab. Call the vote, please.
Councilmember Nava?
Yes.
Councilmember Corona?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Rab?
Yes.
Councilmember Rogers?
Yes.
Mayor Vargas?
Yes.
5-0, motion approved.
Thank you. Okay, A, Mayor Pro Tem Rab, you want to start?
Yes, I pulled 9A for a separate vote. I originally voted yes on this matter at the last meeting. During that time, I've spoken with numerous residents regarding putting the cost of trash service on their property tax bill. And it's been a resounding no on the half dozen residents I've spoken with. Ultimately, I do understand that if the residents do fail to pay their bill, it would ultimately end up on the tax roll. But I think with my having spoken with several residents, one of the deciding factors that changed my mind was the fact that if there is a discrepancy in billing, there's no period to contest that discrepancy. For instance, if you have the smaller trash can, under the system in which CR&R would bill the person, they would be able to contest it and have time prior to it coming to the council to be placed on the assessor roll. If it's directly placed on the assessor roll, it would be much harder to contest that bill. And numerous other people had indicated that they like to see their mortgage payment set a certain way with escrow fees and interest fees. So just given those concerns that I've heard from the residents, and they were very, very strong concerns, I will be voting no on this. It's not a knock for CR&R or anybody. They explained it well, and I thank them for explaining it. Just however, ultimately, the residents who approached me explained this to me, explained their adamant opposition to it. I will be voting no on this item.
Anybody else?
Yes. So I'm not sure if I spoke to the same residents as Mayor Pro Tem Rab did, but I did hear similar sentiments from residents. I reached out to them to some residents kind of just get their point of view. The presentation for CR&R was very good. It was a good explanation. But the residents had some concerns that I felt were valid. If we do allow one utility to go through the tax rolls, and then what's to stop future ones from going? At the same time, too, I think it just created too much confusion. People don't want to see their taxes going up, even though it's not going to be an increase of the trash payments, but they will see their tax go up. So with the confusion that we're seeing with utilities in general, I think the best option in this case would be to have them bill every 3 months to take out the confusion that we're seeing in other utilities. So I'm also going to be voting no yeah, that's about it.
Councilwoman Nava?
Thank you, Mayor. One thing I'd like to address that hasn't been mentioned by my colleagues is that no notices were mailed out to residents. There wasn't a way for them to be in the loop. So that's just something I side with our residents, that they needed a better way to be informed about this issue that was going to be affecting them. And then the agenda also mentions that the invoices will be coming in a lump sum, and just my recommendation to CR&R is try to find a way to alleviate that so that those 5-month invoices that will be coming to residents eventually down the road are somehow leveled out so that the transition is a lot smoother, some kind of payment method to alleviate that. And then on the agenda, it was mentioned that the that the billing system, which we have with EMWD, is 2 months in arrears, and that if CR&R is to take over the billing, that they would do 3 months, I believe. So also my recommendation, since it was brought up to council, is to have them match what was currently being done with EMWD, where it's 2 months in arrears versus having to go 3 months. And that concludes my comments for this item. Thank you.
Anybody else? So I talked to different residents than both of you, and the people I talked to prefer to have it on tax rolls. So, I mean, it's six say yes and 6 say no. I mean, we're talking about a lot more residents than that. We do have the member of CR&R here. Maybe he can answer some of these questions that were just brought up regarding if someone has issues with their billing or size of cans or what have you.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and Council and staff. My name is Alex Brekovich. I'm with CR&R. I appreciate the comments and understand the concerns. As I stated in our presentation, there are a number of cities that do use tax roll. Yes, I understand that in the beginning it's a transition, it's a change, and there's a little bit of confusion in that. I understand that. However, in all the cities that have this, there are ways to adjust and take into account if one has a smaller container or a larger container. So there are ways to do that. Again, I get it, I understand it. We just thought this would be the easiest, most seamless way to do this. And yes, we will work with residents at the beginning. If you choose to go 3 months in advance, we'll work with those residents. It's an industry standard in terms of billing 3 months in advance, so I don't think that we can move much off of that, but we can work with residents to work out the first few months of it. So obviously, our preference would be putting everybody on the tax roll, but I can't, I can't speak for the 6 or 12 people that approached you. I don't have much else to say other than what we've spoken about in the presentation the last time we were here. There are a number of benefits that the city would see, and those include the streamlined process that we talked about. The transition would be seamless. As you know, we had to take all the data from EMWD and all the data from the city and clean that up and go through that process. Now it appears that we might be billing those individually. There was a concern with some of those not having billing information, just service information, so that could be a little tricky. Minimizing costs to the customer, we were looking at that as well. Minimizing delinquencies, maximizing franchise fees. And obviously, there are a lot of changes coming up in the state of California with regards to solid waste and recycling requirements. And SB 1383 is coming up in January, and obviously from a compliance standpoint, the city has to be very concerned about that from a compliance standpoint, because if you don't comply, then there are some significant fines that the city could see as well. Obviously, it's your decision in terms of how you would like to approach this, but I think we've said everything that we can say at this point.
Okay. Councilwoman Rogers, do you have a comment?
No, I had a question. I believe at the presentation, you stated you would be coming back to the city with the tax rolls, and before they would actually be placed on the tax rolls, people would be notified, and they would have the option of protesting at that time if they had objections to this. Is that correct?
Yes, so thank you for bringing that up. Yes, so the plan was, in talking to staff, was that we would send out letters to everybody prior to everybody going on the tax roll, right? We wouldn't do this without notifying everybody first. And we would explain how the system would work. We would explain the fact that it would go 6 months on your, I think it's the December tax roll, and then the other on April. So all that would be explained in a notice to all the customers prior to it all happening. So we would never do that without notifying the customers first.
And my second question, there was concern over renters versus owners. So would you have the ability to bill the renters rather than the owners for people who have the service through EMWD?
Through tax roll or through?
Either way.
Either way. So tax roll, let me take a step back. At the end of the day, the property owner is responsible for the trash bill. So for us, it's important that we have property owner information so that we can notify the property owners. That applies to tax roll or to individual billings. The biggest challenge we have where we do the billing, and in the cities that we do the billing, is where there are tenant-landlord relationships. If the tenant gets the bill and never pays it, the landlord at the end of the day is responsible for that bill. They sometimes don't find out about it. And so what you will find every year when we come to you for tax roll delinquencies is what they're called, is you will have a number of landlords that will be upset because they're saying, well, my tenant never paid or my tenant never notified me. We do our best to notify the property owner, but that information is not perfect. I'll just say it right up front. It's not perfect. We try to get the data from the county and through other services. So we try to notify both ways. But either way, whether it's we do the billing or it's tax roll, the owner at the end of the day is the one who is responsible for that bill. I hope I answered your question.
And Eastern Municipal Water District bills in advance or?
In
behind?
arrears.
In arrears.
In
So they're
arrears.
2 months in arrears. So when someone would then go on a billing cycle for 3 months in advance, they'd have to pay the 2 months in arrears and the 3 months in advance?
Yeah, and that's
So
the.
that would be a total of 5 months total?
Right. So what we would do in the beginning, we did this with another city, is that first 3 months were very flexible in terms of, we understand that they got a 2-month bill and then we're sending them a 3-month bill. So we would work with the customers in terms of those that have an issue with paying that 5 months. And it's 90 days in advance. So
Right.
we're willing to obviously work with customers on that issue.
Yeah, because if we do consider going to the direct billing, then coming up with 5 months in advance is quite a bit of money.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Can I follow up to that question?
Sure.
Would CR&R be able to compromise that so that residents wouldn't be hit with the 5 months at one point? Does CR&R have that?
Well, our billing system is set up for 3 months in advance. So we don't have a lot of latitude in that regard. We are willing, obviously, if we get a call from a customer who says, I just paid my 2 months, I can't pay 3 months, we'll work with every one of those customers.
Okay, got it. And a following question to that then is, if today's second reading were to be adopted and then the residents would be notified, and if we find out that the residents oppose this, what would be the subsequent steps then once the reading would be adopted?
Thank you, Councilwoman Nava. If this second reading is adopted and it goes forward, then CR&R will put together a mailing to all the residents, and they could have a right to come and protest at the hearing when the council places the items on the tax roll. And so you would have to consider that person's item as specifically, so it wouldn't be an objection as to the whole program, it would be an objection as to that person. And you'd have to consider it at that time and decide what to do, whether or not to place that person on the tax roll.
Okay, so at this point, we're deciding the methodology, right? Whether we're going with the various options.
Correct, it's only the methodology. And Mr. Brekovich might be able to explain a little bit more about an individual protest at that hearing. I don't know how much of an effect that has had in the past in their other cities that do this.
Got it.
An option to consider I just thought about this as you were talking. Maybe one option is to consider doing tax roll for the next year and see how that works. And if there are people that are adamantly opposed to it, and they come out and they protest, and let's say there's 10, 15, 20 people, we work with those individuals on a case-by-case basis. That might be another way to approach this as well. And then I think what you will find is that after a year or two of being on the tax roll, people don't want to get off of it. So it's a much easier process to deal with. And so I'll just throw that out as a potential option.
One more follow-up question, I'm sorry. So if, let's say, a resident has an issue with their billing and they find this out when it's placed on their tax rolls, how long after does it take them to get a response regarding any discrepancies?
No different than it would if you were on individual billings. Because if we find out, for example, as an example, let's say that you were billed for a larger container and you have a smaller container. Well, we determine how many months you were billed for a larger container, and we write you a check for the difference. If the customer says, well, just fix it when I get my tax bill, then we do it that way. So it's a one-on-one discussion with the customer to figure out what the best solution is for that particular customer. But it works very similar to an individual billing. We're very fortunate in the fact that we have the flexibility to work with individuals on a case-by-case basis when it comes to those kind of things. And like I said, if the council is open to it and we try it for a year, and you guys, after a year, you say, you know what, I want to do this. Okay, then come this time next year, we go to individual billing. Or you may find out that your customers kind of like it, and then you stay on it. So it's really up to you guys as far as what decision you would like to make.
Appreciate that. Just my final comments with that is, let's say, for example, now your billing is coming through EMWD. I still feel like it's a little vague versus if CRNR were to be billing directly. I'll give you an example. There's a neighborhood who claims that they haven't had street sweeping services for a number of years. And if they had to go back and look at their bill, I feel like there would be confusion with residents as to where do I find my CRNR bill if it's on the tax rolls. And to me, my goal is to make it as transparent and as easy for residents just to, whether they prefer auto pay or whatever it is, that they have access to billing that's coming directly from the service. So those are my final comments. Thank you for answering all my questions.
Thank you. And I will only answer that with, I used to work out in the Coachella Valley, same business. Of all the cities in the Coachella Valley, there are only, I think, one or two that individually bill. Everybody else is on the tax roll. Here, you have Temecula, Canyon Lake, Orange County. There's a number of cities on tax roll. So it's just a question of getting comfortable with the new process, but it isn't anything that we can't resolve with the customer if there is an issue. If a customer from Canyon Lake has an issue, they call us. They call our office, and we're able to resolve those issues, whatever they may be in terms of billing. So I understand the hesitancy in terms of it being a new process, but it isn't new in terms of the industry.
So my 2 cents in there is I as a mayor, I don't want to be a judge and jury with our constituents, because that's what's going to happen at the end of every year. If there's going to be hearings, my understanding, if there's discrepancies on the bills, if you go 3-month billing with all the delinquencies. So, City Attorney, I don't know if you can walk us through that process, what happens?
Some cities do put the entire bill on the tax rolls. Other cities will agree to put the delinquencies on the tax rolls, so they bill either through the water company or through direct billing by Sierra&R or whoever the waste hauler is, and those delinquencies go on the tax rolls. And so with this process, the idea would be that the very first year, if you adopt this ordinance, that there would be a hearing and put all the properties on the tax rolls, and people would get notified and have the ability to protest. In subsequent years, that process would be administrative, so it wouldn't be before the council. In cities that put delinquencies on the tax rolls, those hearings are conducted each year. So each summer, the waste hauler comes up with a list of delinquent accounts, brings them to the council, and puts them on the tax rolls. It's very similar to like CFD foreclosures and those kinds of things that used to come before the council. And then there are other ones where the cities don't agree to do any of that, and that they leave it up to the waste hauler to pursue their own collections through whatever service they do collections through. So it's an array of options that the one that comes before the council every year is the one that you do delinquent charges each year that go in the tax roll. Pardon me?
And it would be the 3-month billing.
Right.
Not the tax roll, it's a
Not
3-month
the
billing
tax
with
roll. Right,
CNR.
right. So the delinquencies would come back, I'm sorry, Mayor, if I can.
Yes.
extend. The delinquencies would come back every year if the city chose to go with the 3-month billing option.
And that's my concern, is I don't want to be a judge and jury with my constituents when it comes to delinquency. Now, we're going to be acting as a penalty referee.
For full disclosure, some cities don't do that. Some cities just don't put it on the tax rolls at all, and they just leave it up to the waste hauler to pursue collections. And so that's, and I'll leave it to Mr. Breakovich to describe if he has any clients like that.
We do not. The only backstop that we have if we have delinquencies is if we do the billing, then we have that tax roll delinquency process. We probably couldn't do it without that. The cost of collections would be crazy. So that one goes hand in hand with the other. If you do the tax roll, then that's not an issue.
Well, it's, like I said, it's a tough call. I mean, you talk to some people like it, and some people don't want it. I mean, and I don't want to be the person with the hole in the mallet who says who's going to be paying or not going to be paying, when it comes to delinquency notices. That's not our job as council and the mayor. It shouldn't be. All right, if anybody else, let me open up, if no one has any more, I'm going to open up public hearing. Should have done that earlier.
And this is the second reading, so it's not a public hearing, but certainly if you would like to ask for public comment.
Well, it's under the, this is under the consent calendar. I should have asked for public comment.
Correct.
Yeah. So we're going to, and Madam Clerk, is there anybody, we can sit down, Mr. Breakovich, thank you.
Yes. Elizabeth Ayala.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ayala. You have 3 minutes.
Yes. Hello, Mayor and council members. I just want to briefly, something that they said was the benefits.
Can you do me a favor and take your mask off? You're by yourself up there.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
It'll be a lot easier for us to hear you.
The benefits is what they were mentioning. I think the benefits is keeping the promises to the residents who voted you guys in right now is important. Property taxes letter prior, before they do it, that letter should have been done before before the meetings even started with CR&R. Has it done so in the past? But their CRNR is asking, once again, to have the city approve, hold on, I'm gonna go here, their billing be sent to the registrar office so they can do their billing for them. I can say this over and over, the city is not a collection agency. What business wouldn't like to do that? It's ridiculous. Pretty soon, we will have other businesses coming forward asking for the same favor. I liked how Mr. Corona asked the CRNR question last meeting while I wasn't here. He asked if we would be if Paris would be the first to say no. And that's because the past council members, including Rita Rogers, listened and to the residents and voted no before. I would hope you will do the same again and vote no. I honestly, I could go on and on everything that I've read and looked over, but what I can't see is that they come over and over and ask for your guys' votes, but meanwhile, every 4 years, when you guys are asking for our votes, you're saying this is not gonna happen. Rita she voted no a long time ago. She was like, no, residents first. And on your guys' promises to us, when you guys were asking for our votes, you said you would do the benefit for us, not the businesses. We're the ones that are voting for you guys. And that's what I'm hoping that you guys will do today. For the people that I've talked to, and boy, did I talk to them, using my bullhorn in the corners, talking to people that couldn't make it because it was so short of time.
Thank you, Ms. Ayala. Your time's up. Thank you. You're welcome.
That is all.
IT, is there anybody online?
No, sir.
Thank you. I'm a little puzzled. Mr. Brekovich, can you come up and answer a question? I think we all know by now this is coming from Eastern Municipal Water District that they don't want to collect the billing for you, but has this is my second term, my 5th year in office for as mayor. Prior to that, has this question come up before where you have come before the council and the mayor to take over the billing?
Can you hear me now? Yes. I've been with CRNR a little over 11 years. We've never brought this to the council. And I want to preface this with the fact that EMWD has approached us as recently as 2 or 3 years ago with an interest in doing this, but it never got farther than conversations with staff. EMWD didn't push it at that point. This time around, they did, and they said July 1st is the last time we're going to bill. So, but it never, to the best of my knowledge, has never been to the council.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. You have a comment?
Yeah, so I do have a comment on that. You know, I just did a quick look. It looks like in 1999, in August 3rd, 1999, the city council did not approve the assessment role to provide said bills to the Riverside County tax assessor. I do want to get full transparency that Councilwoman Rita Rogers was not on the council at that time. But
And that's beyond the 11 years that Mr. Brekovich
Yes, it
was
was,
answered
yes.
to. Were you?
On August 99? I mean, it's not important.
Yeah. All right, any other comments or questions?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, just to verify, is there a way for us to review minutes and see if we have this in the minutes, given that it was years back, it may not be scanned or documented, but if there's a way to look that up just to verify, because I've asked this question multiple times too and haven't received a definite answer, so I'm hearing opposing answers. So if we could review the minutes and have a confirmed answer whether or not this was, and if we have archives at that point. Thank you.
We can certainly do that, but we have to vote on this. We postpone this. When is it, what's the deadline for this answer we have to give to EMWD, Mr. Breakovich? July 1st.
That's the biggest issue. We're running out of time because EMWD is going to stop billing June 30th. So we're less than 60 days away. And there is a lot of work that's gone into this, a lot of work that's gone into us. And if we now change course, it is going to be tight.
Okay.
Tight.
Thank you. So just hang tight in case anybody else has a real quick question. Just to clarify with you, Councilwoman Nava, even if we were to, I mean, what is that going to do for us now if this came back, as we're saying, 1999? I mean, that's...
If our speaker today, Ms. Ayala, mentioned that residents turned up and were in a opposition of this, and I'd like to know then, given that they weren't included in this decision-making process because it has to be immediate. But I'd hate to rush something that's going to affect our residents moving forward, so I don't take this decision lightly.
So you said June 30th? So we have what? Yes, Councilwoman Rogers.
Just for clarification, if we vote for this ordinance tonight, when it comes back, everybody will be notified that it affects. Everybody that will receive the notice on their tax bill.
That would be the...
And we will have another hearing where anyone who wants to protest can come in person and protest. If they protest at that time, you will then make arrangements with those individual people to do the 90-day billing. Is that correct?
Do the what, I'm sorry?
To do the 90-day billing.
Yes, we can work with those individuals.
Okay. So if people object to it, they will have been notified. They will have the opportunity to make other arrangements for the 90-day billing. The people who don't protest after they've been notified agree to have it put on their tax bill. So we are still listening to the constituents. We're giving people the opportunity to do it either one of two ways, with the opportunity of having the notice, having the hearing here in our council chambers, and making arrangements for their own preference. Because we are on a time frame and we do have to pay for the services that will be provided for the trash pickups.
And if I could, I would also like to just add one thing, if I could. It was mentioned earlier that the city or the county would do the billing for CR&R. That's really not the case. All the city would be doing is they're a vehicle by which the tax roll gets sent to the county for billing purposes. Now, keep in mind that we're a unique utility in the fact that you have mandatory trash collection in the city of Paris. And you have that because there's a health and safety issue. You can't have trash sitting on the curb or at the side of a house because you will have much more serious health and safety issues. So that's why you have a mandatory collection program. And because it's mandatory, we have to pick it up, period. Right? So whether we get paid through a tax roll or whether it gets paid through a 3-month intervals, at the end of the day, we have to pick it up because of those issues. So I just wanted to clarify that as well. Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem, Joe.
Yes.
Hang on, Alex.
Thank you, Alex, for coming up.
Sure, no problem.
The protest, if the residents, there's certain residents here and other ones that have spoken to me. Say they opt to get the 3-month billing with the 2-month in arrears billing. Maybe Mr. Dunn could help out that with this question as well. What form would the protest need to take? Would they need to provide written notice to CR&R? And by what date would they provide written notice? And would they get written assurances that they wouldn't get double billed, and the fact that they wouldn't get a written 3-month bill and then they would see it on their property taxes? Because I think that would, if it works out that way, I think it helps out everyone. I mean, just for the record, I think having you guys operate as a collection agency is a little bit too much. I think that would be with what Councilwoman Rogers mentioned. I think it's a healthy balance for all parties involved. So just in questions of like, in terms of what form would the protest need to take? When would be the due date for the protest? And I guess another question would be, if the resident gets tired of paying in 3-month increments, would they provide a written notice to you to get put on their property bill? And would that need to go back to the council for a vote for each individual, the protestee or person protesting?
I think the answer to your last question, if you choose to be billed on a 3-month interval, I think that needs to be for a year.
Okay.
And then if the next year you choose to go on tax roll, then you get put on tax roll.
Okay.
And I'm sorry, I don't remember
The process.
In terms of the protest, so we have certain people in this audience that have
okay.
reached out to me regarding protests.
Yeah.
Say they want to go get their billing in 3-month increments. What form would the protest need to take? Would they just need to provide a written notice to CR&R? Would they come to the council and we would have to individually exclude them from the tax roll? Or
Eric, do you know?
It would be scheduled as a hearing, Mayor Pro Tem, that would be probably in July or August, whenever the council meets.
Okay.
And they could submit something online or through the regular process and the protest. The question is that it's not really designed for somebody to opt out forever. So just because they protest to opt out, it's more about to protest and then for CR&R to solve their issue with that particular person. It sounds like Mr. Breakovich is saying, well, if the person wants to opt out, they could do that for a year and get billed 3 months in advance, and that would be up for them to. I'm pointing over at CR&R, but that they would have to work that out with those individuals. But otherwise, the way this is written is that everybody's going to be on the tax roll, and it's not 2 separate systems. They would just have to work out something, right, with
Right, so it would be a
the
case by
individuals.
case, right? So let's say we have 10, 15, 20, 25 people that say, nope, I don't want to go on tax roll. Those 15, 25 people contact us, we pull them off the tax roll, and we send them a bill effective July 1st.
okay. And would that be just for a year, or say they want to be off the tax roll for the next 15 years?
They can be off the tax roll for the next 15 years.
Okay, thank you.
I think what you will find, though, is that most of those people will go, you know what, I like tax roll. I've heard good things about it, so it's up to them.
Okay. Thank you for answering my
Sure.
concerns. And just another question for Mr. Dunn. If we were to do that, will we need to amend the motion for question for Mr. Dunn? I know he's speaking with Ms. Miramontes. In order to do the things we've been communicating around, I think that's a happy compromise for all parties. Will we need to amend the motion that was voted upon at the last meeting back on April 27th?
I don't actually think so, Mayor Pro Tem, and what Ms. Miramontes and I were just talking about is that when the notice goes out, and that's not a city notice, or we work together to prepare the notice, that notice should include some language like that they should be able to.
Opt out or protest.
Okay.
Right.
Protest, opt out.
So the ordinance, if you decide to go forward tonight, would be adopted as is, but the notice itself would let people know that they have that option.
Okay, can we get that bolded and at least in, say, 12 font? Because I know a lot of these notices, they come in 10s, if the council's amenable to that.
I agree. It needs to be highlighted very well so they see that one stipulation in there.
So let's talk about that a little bit.
Okay.
We had that discussion internally today because I thought this might come up. If there are a few customers, and I've been saying this from day one, if there are a few customers that would like to opt out we can work with those few customers. But if we get hundreds or 1,000 out of 15 or 16,000 that say, no, I want to opt out, then that becomes a problem. Because now it's hard for us to track it, and I just want to be transparent.
Okay.
I don't know that I want to go down that road because I don't want to be up here a few months from now and have a bunch of upset customers and have you guys, upset with us. So I'm only extending that as an option for a few customers. If a few customers want to opt out, we'd be happy to, with Ms. Ayala, or if she has a few neighbors, or if you have a few constituents that have come to you. But to open that door to us is a little scary, because then it becomes very hard for us to track that accurately. And I think it will do nothing but create customer service issues for us, and you might have some upset residents as well, and I don't want to do that to you guys.
Thank you for your candor on that.
Anybody else have any questions? Councilwoman Alba?
Yes, I just have another question for my sake of knowledge. So you bill directly to commercial, right? To your commercial customers? CR&R does?
Yes.
So have you ever had any issues with collection or collecting your payment from them? And how do you go about that?
We have, and those go through a collection agency. But you're talking about a fraction of the number of customers that we have in residential. You have a few hundred commercial customers where maybe 5%, 10% of those might go delinquent, whereas you have 16,000 residential customers. And if that same percentage goes delinquent, it really creates significant hardship and the costs go up. So that's why in our industry, we always do it either way for residential. It's either tax roll or individually billed or water billed, or for commercial, we do the billing because it's easier that way, and the customer has the access for it to us, because a commercial customer can want to change their service levels. You have a business that all of a sudden gets really busy, and they want to go from once a week service to 5 times a week service. So they have the flexibility to do that. It's different in residential. In residential, you have your trash picked up every week on the same day. So for those reasons, we always have those two distinctions.
Anybody else? Okay, then hearing no other questions, I'll entertain a motion to approve. I have a motion by Councilwoman Rogers. Looking for a second. I'll second the motion. Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Nava?
No.
Councilmember Corona?
No.
Mayor Pro Tem Rabb?
No.
Councilmember Rogers? Mayor Vargas?
Yes.
Nava, Corona, Rabb, no. Rogers, Vargas, yes.
Thank you. Okay, item 10 is our public hearings. We have no public hearings. Item 11 is business items. We have none. Item 12 is public comment. Madam Clerk, do you have any requests to speak?
No, sir.
Is there anybody on the floor at this time want to speak? IT, do we have anybody?
No, sir.
Very good. Item 13 is council communication. I'll start with Councilman Corona.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to give a late happy Mother's Day to all of the mothers in the city of Paris, and you know, with the mothers here in our city as well too. Our new city manager. Once again, congratulations, and to our city clerk, to Councilwoman Rogers, happy Mother's Day, and to all the other mothers, especially to my own wife and my own mother, happy Mother's Day. About 2 Saturdays ago, I attended the first hike that we had in over a year, and it was very, very, very well attended. A lot of people enjoyed it. A lot of people were excited out there. Our staff did a great job. I felt like our staff's ready to just take on more and more projects in a safe manner, of course. So I'm looking forward to the next one, May 22nd at Terry Peak. It's a more challenging one, so you know, don't take strollers. But it's a great hike if you want to get a great view of the whole Paris Valley, Lake Paris, all that stuff. So just stay tuned for that. Make sure you sign up. On that same Saturday, I also attended the farmers market. You know, I know the mayor's been going pretty much almost every weekend. I did attend. It was a great event. They had performances there. You know, it's just a great thing that our Chamber of Commerce started with some of the products that they have there, and just a great day. So go check it out. This upcoming May 21st, they're going to Paris High School. They're going to be having a vaccination clinic for 16 and up. So anybody 16 and up can go and get vaccinated. As of right now, I believe it's still only 16, even though there's talk about changing it even to 12 and up, which got approved or is going to get approved. But as of right now, it's just going to be 16 and up. So that's all the comments for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Nava.
Thank you very much, Mayor. I too was able to participate in the Take a Hike event. It was great to get back, and I know a lot of us are itching to be more active these days after being socially distanced and whatnot. So really excited for that, and thank you to our community services and all our city staff for making that happen. And also a special shout out to our community services here who's cleaning up the microphones and doing the little things, right? It's the little things that keep our city running. So Lou, thank you so much. And then I hope you all had a great Mother's Day weekend. And once again, City Manager Miramontes, congratulations. So excited to see what you bring to the city of Paris. And my comments are brief for tonight, but just remember to be kind to each other and to yourself. Thank you so much.
Very good. Councilwoman Rogers?
I also want to wish all the mothers a belated Happy Mother's Day, and I hope you all got your flowers while you're here to enjoy them. I just want to report on some of the boards that I serve on, commissions. We're in the process now with the retirement notice of Rick Bishop, and also with WRCOG, and also Daniel Kelly with March Joint Powers Association, looking to do the replacements and interview candidates for both of those positions. And hopefully we'll have some news on that shortly. And that's all I have this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem?
Yes, once again, I want to echo the sentiments of my colleagues and wish everyone a happy Mother's Day. Hopefully everyone had an opportunity to enjoy Mother's Day with their mothers, stepmothers, grandmothers, sister-in-laws, nieces, and aunts. It's very precious. Mothers are the foundation of just a functioning society. You learn all your morals, your mores. You're inculcated with the values that will last with you for the rest of your life through your mother. So once again, happy Mother's Day to all the mothers. I just want to, if we can get some information on, or if I can get some information on accessory dwelling units, also known as granny flats, the requirements for the city of Paris, and looking at different programs that other cities offer. I know Pasadena offers a program that gives a no-interest loan for people to build accessory dwelling units, and they also provide help with people that have non-complying units, you know, the granny flats, the little houses in the back, to get them up to code to help solve our housing issue. I know there are a lot of areas that have houses that are on land, and, you know, Sun Park and the downtown area and other areas of the city that could accommodate those units. So I just kind of want to see where we're at in terms of if an individual homeowner wanted to move forward with the accessory dwelling unit to help alleviate some of the housing shortages that we have here in Southern California. Given the hard decision we had to make today, I think it's important that we move forward on this. I know CR&R, through no fault of their own, is pressed for time in terms of moving forward and getting a billing cycle ready. If it requires calling a special meeting, I think we need to revisit this ASAP. I think our main concern was against the, right now, putting it on the tax rolls, but I can't speak for the rest of the council, but I think option B, I believe it was, the individualized billing with the delinquent people being placed on the tax roll may have some traction with this council. And I didn't want to leave the organization hanging. It's something we have to resolve prior to the end of, I believe, the end of June. So if we can look at, if it requires having a special meeting to get the ball rolling on that, I would be up for that. I wasn't sure about the process of having a substitute motion. I didn't have my Robert's Rules of Order in front of me. So I think it's something that we need to move on with haste, one way or the other, if it requires it. And with that, that closes my public comments. Just want to wish everyone a happy May, a mental health month. There should be no stigma to getting help in terms of seeing a psychiatrist, a person, a mental health therapist, and getting your what issues you may have out there and speaking with family members. So I want to wish everyone a happy mental health month. And that concludes my comments for today. Thank you.
Thank you. Just a reminder again to everybody about street racing. If you have issues with street racing and people doing their donuts and what have in your neighborhood, please do call the non-emergency dispatch number 951-776-1099 and choose option 5. I attended a career day at May Ranch Elementary via Zoom. That was kind of radical, doing it on Zoom, but it was pretty good. And I participated with the Rotary Club, who honored students at the Boys and Girls Club who had a coloring contest. It's always nice to visit the kids at the Boys and Girls Club. I didn't participate, but I attended the hike due to my bad knee. But it was really, as Councilman Corona had indicated, it was probably one of our largest turnouts, and that kind of shows that people are just ready to, our residents are ready to come on out, and it was done very safely, and it was very nice, and they're all looking forward to our next one. And I did, as indicated, attended the farmer's market. It's getting better every 2 weeks is actually when they do it, and fruits and veggies are starting to come in, so it's getting better. And then we also celebrated the grand opening of El Nuevo Tarasco restaurant. They had a tough time during the pandemic, but they finally managed to pull through a grand opening. And then our Paris Valley Historical Society had the reopening this past weekend of the Depot Museum. That was very nice. No matter how many times I see the big, large-scale pictures that they have, the history of Paris, it's always nice to revisit those pictures all the time. And as Mayor Pro Tem indicated, this is with the CR&R issue, it's a no-win situation. We have constituents on one hand saying we want 3 months billing, the other hand, they want to go with the tax roll. And you're right, we got to move on this and find out what we're going to do, because I know I'm going to go back home and hear a lot of grief. I mean, to go 3 months and all of a sudden now someone has to pay 5 months now to get caught up with their trash bill. They're not going to be happy with that. So now let's see how many phone calls we start getting. Again, like I said, it's no fault to anybody. It's half a dozen in one hand and 6 in the other. It's we have to make a decision. Those are tough calls, and I wish we would have maybe had more people come and voice their opinion at the meeting, but it is what it is, and we need to move on forward, and we'll all work with staff on setting something up, whether we have to do a special meeting or not. Okay, moving on to item 14, which is now our city manager's report, not interim.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to thank Mayor Vargas, Mayor Pro Tem Rabb, Councilman Corona, Councilwoman Nava, and Councilwoman Rogers for entrusting me with the appointment again. Thank you. In regards to updates for our COVID-19 testing and vaccination site at on the city campus, the testing remains open Monday through Thursday from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Walk-ins and appointments are welcome. In regards to the vaccination site, remains open from Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., and appointments are required. Also, the Community Services Department is also now opening up sports clinic towards the end, beginning actually this weekend, for soccer clinics for ages 3 years old to 7 years old. This will take place at Patriot Park Soccer Field. The first session starts at 9 a.m. and the second session's at 10:30. You can register using the City of Paris Civic Rec portal. And Councilman Corona already announced the Take a Hike. Our next hike is scheduled for May 22nd, Saturday. You can visit our website and pre-register. Also, in honor of the class of 2021, the graduation parade being hosted by the city will take place on June 12th at 6 p.m., and you can also register at the City of Paris website. And finally, the last item I wanted to bring up is our housing division is holding pop-up events throughout various city parks this week in order to provide assistance, answer any questions, provide applications for anyone who needs housing or rental assistance as a result of loss of income due to COVID. So please visit our housing website for more information. Our economic development and housing manager is also here tonight if you have any questions. That concludes my, my report. Thank you.
Thank you. I used to say Mr. City Manager. What, Miss City Manager? Mrs. City Manager?
Anyway, it's
Madam,
neutral.
thank you. Madam City
Madam.
Manager. Thank you, Madam City Manager.
You're welcome.
That's a nice spring, as I think it was Councilman Corona. You are making history here in the city of Paris as being our first female Latina city manager. Congratulations again. Okay, so this is our adjournment, item 15. Thank you, everybody, for coming on, coming out, hearing us on Zoom, social media, where have you. Tonight, we will be adjourning in memory of Jordan Ehrenkranz. He was a council member for the city of Canyon Lake who passed away suddenly, unexpectedly, on May 4th, 2021. So my thoughts and prayers to his family. We are adjourned. Everybody stay safe. Continue to wear your mask. Numbers are doing really good. Practice social distancing. Thank you.